Welcome to High Value Blueprint, the home of bold insights and unapologetic truth. Today we're diving into a Kevin Samuels moment that's got the entire timeline buzzing. Let's break it down, challenge the narrative, and uncover the real dynamics behind the conversation.
You see, it's hard to cover all bases in general talking point. But hello, you got to turn the TV off in the background. Do that. You got to turn the TV off in the background.
I think it's off now.
How old are you?
Me, I'm 25.
Okay. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. What do you want to talk about?
I want to talk about how to make these concepts more digestible for my age group. I date someone who's older, and he is the one who really brought me to your content, and it took me a while to really accept what you're saying. I know that I'm a rather sensitive person, so a lot of times I'm like, he's so mean, but like after seeing how women respond to you and really catching on to the patterns, I'm like, okay. And so it's taken me a while, but now I really kind of see.
When you say digestible, what do you mean?
I think that women in my generation, especially people who want to be married and have successful relationships, have a lot to learn and a lot to gain from the things that you say, but get so caught up in maybe what comes off as insulting or, I don't know, intimidating, that they miss the rest of what they would otherwise agree with or see as valuable information.
Okay. It's meant to do that.
Yeah?
Yeah, because your generation has been told you can have everything and there are no limits. Mm-hmm. And your world is your oyster. It's called a pattern interrupt. Mm-hmm. It's meant to shock you and get your attention to realize that, guess what? You've been lied to. You can't have it all. You have to make choices. There's a movie called The Matrix. Came out in 99, 2000. I don't know if you watched it before.
My older boyfriend showed it to me during the pandemic. So it's
all right.
Yeah.
So when Neo was given a choice between the blue pill, which is the good feeling, go back to sleep and believe whatever you want, or the red pill, do you remember what happened to him? The shock of that system, waking up, oh shit. But in order to become who he needed to become, he needed to wake up. Mm-hmm. If the media messages have been telling women, don't worry about it, postpone marriage, you can do whatever you want, so on and so forth. Why do you think that message exists? Because one, it keeps more consumers in the market. Two, women spend more than men. The messages are for the 73% of women who spend the dollar. So I get it. The message is shocking. It's because you guys are more asleep than any other generation. My generation didn't realize how asleep we were. Then the next generation is more asleep than that, and the next generation is more asleep than that. My generation is just now starting to come around and say, you know what? We didn't know these things. So the need to shock your generation into reality with Cosmopolitan lying to you ladies to sell you tampons, vacation homes, pianos, and everything else, while those women were married and had their kids, is important. Mm-hmm. So I have moderated my message quite a bit. I moderated it quite a bit. And I do my level best to try to have one-on-one conversations. But if you think of the shock as a result of how bad the problem is. Have you ever had to have you ever been in a hospital before?
Yeah.
A broken bone or anything?
I had a surgery. I've never broken a bone.
Did you have to did you have to actually go under?
Yeah.
Did they give you pain shots and everything afterwards? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. The painkiller they gave you after the surgery matched the level of pain you had. Mm-hmm. That's the strength of the painkiller. But as you got better, you went from strong narcotics, opioids, to lesser, to eventually to Tylenol or to ibuprofen, to where you could just kind of get over it. But as you healed, the strength of the medication decreased. It was, but the strength of the painkiller was a response to how hurt you were.
Yeah.
That's what my message is. I reflect what I get back.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it makes sense. That's why you're able to have like more successful conversation with someone who maybe like gets it compared to the people who I think really could use the message more, but I feel like they miss it. It's almost like I feel like you are preaching to the choir, because the women who come on here and have unsuccessful conversations with you, I feel like are the ones who probably have the most to gain. And so I'm just wondering, like, you know, are the people who don't have somebody to keep showing them, you know, whether it's your content or anyone else, like, you can't be the only one doing this. Like, it's in the music, it's in the media, it's in how we're raised. You know, like, I have my own story about how I feel like my mother's decisions have like impacted my lives, or I see my friends who are raised by single parents, single women. You know, I'm starting to see the patterns myself, but I just feel like, you know, it can't just be a small group of people who tune in and get it. Like, if it's everywhere, how, like, I just feel like it's a really big problem that one person like your fix.
But that's true, and I didn't go looking for this.
Yeah.
Like I said Monday, I'm the hero you got. I may not be the one you want. I'm the one you got. But look at how far it's come since May of last year. It's getting out. And let me back up. Number one, the person I'm talking to is the person I'm talking to. But what you don't see is the people who are at home saying, you know what? I didn't realize what my thoughts sounded like coming out of someone else's mouth until I heard it. I get letters from women saying that, oh my God, I saw myself in her and I did not like it. So it's a teaching experience. That's one path. Another path is, just like most, it shocked me, it bothered me, but then they keep coming back. And it's like, you know, I didn't like you, but then I finally got over it. And it's not just me, because you said your boyfriend brought you here. Well, that's one person who's been affected by the message. Mm-hmm. I'm just the person who's in front right now, but I don't need to be in front. I just want more conversations to be had so we can get to better outcomes. I said this a long time ago. It's really not about me. But I have taken that. So people who are watching, I have taken that into consideration. People like, well, the tone, can you moderate the tone? I don't know how often you watch, but there are times where I'm really struggling to try to keep.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, you touch on sensitive things. Like, shortly before I joined the live, I was having an argument about, like, well, not an argument, but I was debating with him, like, I'm an 8. Because earlier talking about the, divided by your body and your face. And I'm like, well, so, I mean, it's just, you sometimes are talking about things that are polarizing, especially for the individual.
Yes. And the thing is, unfortunately, we have to find a way, especially in our community, to have conversations about sensitive, polarizing topics. Because if we don't, we won't get any better. I mean, I'm an image consultant, for Christ's sakes. I'm an image and style and fragrance guy. And I have people from that side like, why do you talk about relationships? They talk about them too. They just don't get as deep as I do. They would not dare to talk about some of the topics, and they certainly wouldn't inject race into it. And I've been doing this for a long time, and it's just now starting to catch on. But sometimes when you don't necessarily pick what your purpose is, and apparently I have a talent for it. So what I'm looking to do is have more people realize that it's not here to tear anything down or hurt anybody. It's actually here to help men get the outcomes they want. And what that really is to get women to start to understand that we're different and we get nowhere without each other. Yeah. So, and just like you and I had this conversation, how long have you been watching my content?
Probably for the past 3 months. And I will say that I can thank you, because some of what I struggle with in the relationship that I'm in is the person who I date is an entrepreneur, and I'm in a really corporate job. So for me, So I have this image of what I want in life. I'm a little bit young at 25, just having graduated, and have this mindset of, I worked hard, I should get this, I deserve this, and dating an entrepreneur,
Delayed gratification, can't spend the money just yet. Mm-mm.
Yeah, or just, sometimes it's, well, here's this idea that they're working towards, and I don't know, like, how feasible is this? Or, I have a lot of certainty on my end, but there's uncertainty on their end, and just feeling like, see people.
Well, let me give you a different standpoint. First of all, imagine you've been watching me for 3 months, but a year ago, you probably would have thrown something at the TV. That's a testament to how far we've come. That you can even get to the point to where you can even contact me. Because a year ago, it would have been like, who the fuck is this? I would shut it down. But going to corporate America, let me say something. I come from corporate America. And one of the things I realized in my career is I sold in excess of $45 million in products and services. And I thought I was safe. But then I realized that after the 70% weight, I realized that I'm really not safe, because every job I worked at, people were getting fired. There were downsizes. There was bankruptcies. And the longer you work for a company, the more you cost. They can bring somebody in. Working for someone is actually the most vulnerable thing to do long term. So you being corporate and him being an entrepreneur, how can you take your corporate structure knowledge to help him improve his entrepreneurial way of doing things? And then how can you take his entrepreneurial knowledge to learn how to get away? See, then that's the difference between you being corporate and him being an entrepreneur. Now at least the conversation is being had. Because eventually, what vertical, what industry are you in?
I'm in deals.
Okay. With that deals, sales?
So mergers and acquisitions. So
M&A, okay.
Yeah.
So most people in M&A start because I'm a professional salesperson. So M&A, consulting and angel investors, people I do consults with daily, you guys complement each other more than anything else. It's just, can you work together and build for a lifetime?
And that's exactly where we're at. I sometimes feel insecure about where his financial future is headed, just because, again, it's whatever he does is what it is. But he often tells me, like, you're in a position to help me get to where we're trying to go. Like, Are you a Christian? Were you raised Christian? I was raised Christian.
Are you familiar with Bishop T.D. Jakes? Bishop T.D. Jakes often talks about when he was starting out in West Virginia. He's an extremely successful man now, very rich. But listen to the stories about how poor he was coming up. And he told a story about when the car broke down, and the car was about having his wife walk with him. And as broke as they were in rural West Virginia, she still did her duty and responsibility to her husband, who was down bad. That's why she gets anything she wants now. See, you're the security now.
Yeah.
He's the risk, but it's not a risk. He's the investment. When let's assume you guys get married and he starts a business and it fails, because most entrepreneurs fail 1 or 2, 3 times before something works.
Yeah.
But then when it works, and you've been doing your thing for 15 or 20 years, you reach that glass ceiling or whatever. There's an ability to come and take these skill sets and take it over here to where you employ your own children and employ your own community, to where you have the option to stay here or there. That's actually the smartest way. One in, one out. Because then you're not beholden to anybody.
Yeah.
And see, the beginning of having all this conversation is having a woman and a man sit down and talk about important things up front that are contentious, that are scary, that are sensitive, in a way to where you feel safe and he feels safe to have these conversations, and everybody's not holding their cards close to their chest and not willing to trust anybody with information. This program has shown how to have difficult conversations, and it's a skill we did not learn.
Yeah.
So I think this is where we are right now, and people will see the conversation we had, and they'll learn from it, and we'll get better. But we're still gonna make mistakes. I'm human. I'm gonna fail a lot, but we're gonna fail moving forward. And how long have you guys been seeing one another?
About a year and a half. We met on LinkedIn, so that's a pretty funny story.
Time to go ahead and pull the trigger.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, we've actually both seen you in person, so we're like in your backyard. So
there you go. Time to go ahead and pull the trigger and formalize it. See, as I don't want to say the names of the people I was just talking to, but they're Black business people. And I think we need to hear more from our business class and less from our, no offense to our entertainers, musicians, athletes, entertainers. We need to hear more from our business class so we understand the investment. It's not risk, it's investment. It's only risk if you don't plan on being there the long term. It's an investment if you plan on being there.
Investment in being in business?
Yeah. Well, like you mentioned his business.
Right.
Whatever, even from failures, trust me, go back and watch some of my videos go back to the earliest videos and look at how shitty they were. But it was all investment to get here.
Mm-hmm.
But I would not have had the benefit of the ROI now if I had not been willing to fail in public. They keep pulling my pictures and roasting me left and right. Failures. But what they don't talk about is what I'm talking about now in the results. And I don't worry about it because I knew back then why I was doing what I'm doing now. And see, that's the power when a man and a woman really get on the same page and start talking about practical stuff, pragmatic stuff. That's our true nature. CIA, FBI complementing one another versus I got this, you got that, and I'm good, you good. Yeah, we both be good, but we're not great alone. We're better together. So appreciate it, sis. Have a good one.
Yes, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You can tell immediately she's 25, but she doesn't have that chaotic, rebellious, you can't tell me anything energy that we see from so many young modern women. She's dating someone older, and honestly, I can see why an older man would be drawn to her. She has something most women her age lack: emotional intelligence. Not just intelligence, not just beauty, but a sensitive, receptive spirit that actually allows her to pause, reflect, and consider advice instead of reacting with attitude. And let's be real, a woman who can listen is damn near a superpower today. Every time Kevin gave her perspective or corrected her thinking, she didn't roll her eyes. She didn't get combative. She didn't play victim. She didn't try to outsmart him. Instead, she leaned in. She took notes mentally. She actually weighed the insight. That is what true femininity looks like in real time. That is what cooperation looks like. That is what a man can build with. And you know what else stood out? She didn't approach the conversation with entitlement. She came with humility. She came with intention. She came looking for direction, not validation. This is the exact type of woman who ends up married, protected, provided for, and poured into by a man who values her. Because men don't mind leading a woman who wants to be led. Men don't mind providing for a woman who's willing to partner, not compete. Other women need to study her behavior like a blueprint. Because so many of them think being strong means being stubborn, or being independent means being impossible, or being emotional means being unstable. But this woman, she shows you what a balanced, feminine, introspective young woman looks like. She's sensitive, not in the dramatic, chaotic way, but sensitive in the way that actually connects her to the emotional reality of relationships. Sensitive in the way that allows her to bond, understand, and communicate without hostility. Women love to talk about wanting a high-value man, wanting marriage, wanting commitment, but then they show up argumentative, defensive, loud, and closed off. This woman showed up the exact opposite. And because of that, I'm telling you right now, she's going to be just fine in life. Any man who marries her, lucky, blessed, and probably older, more established, and appreciative of the softness she brings. She's the example that proves the point. When a woman listens first and talks second. When a woman stays curious rather than combative. When a woman values wisdom over ego. Everything in her life gets easier, especially love. This young woman is the kind modern women should be learning from, because she's not just beautiful, she's actually wife material, and that's becoming rarer by the day.